everyone, it's Kelly. It is March 10th, 10 days into the month. We're in the double digits, and I've had a good day. So, reading update. Excuse me. Reading update. Okay, first Holofox. We got to chapter 12 today. We read 3 pages. Not 3 pages. We read 3 chapters. So, yeah, I am really enjoying it. If you see my cheeks are red, I am really hot. We just got done watching a movie, but I'll talk about it after my reading update. I swear I can talk tonight. Yeah, so Morgan had an encounter with a Trixie Alley, and Jupiter is losing his shit. It was really funny. Yeah, we're about to find out what's going on with the Wunimals. That's all I want to say. I don't want to spoil anything, but yes. And I started reading at 12 o'clock this morning, midnight, How to Marry Keanu Reeves in 90 Days by K.M. Jackson. So far, I'm understanding why so many people are, like, rating this book, give, like, 1 or 2 stars, because the main character, she is very juvenile. She thinks juvenile-ish. Is that a word? I think so. But she's, she just can't believe that Keanu Reeves is getting married. Like, how can he do that to her? It's more like she's acting, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but my first impression of her was like stalker-ish. She's obsessed. But yeah, her connection and her relationship with her 2 friends, True and Dawn, I'm just laughing. And I read something about penis size. So yes. So far, it's okay. I'm only on the 2nd chapter. I'm on page 11. So I want to read more and, like, give my thoughts. So I'm going to read a little bit more tonight, and then I'll give you my thoughts. And then, yeah, I'm going to do better with this one. Or I may just make a whole separate video. What should I do? I may take little clips during the day. And, yeah. And then just do a whole day vlog on that. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I may do it tomorrow. Start that tomorrow. Yeah, so that's my reading update. I am reading these 2 books. So let me capture. Yeah. So, now, a couple things. I realized that I never talked about the last 2 books that I read at the end of February. I've already have a February part 1 wrap up, and I'll link that down below, but I only read 2 more books after I uploaded that video, so I want to talk about them now. The first one is a middle grade that I read with my kids. It is When the World Turned Upside Down by Ibura. It is about 4 kids who live in this apartment complex, and they just got, they just are learning about the pandemic. The pandemic's just started, so they are secluded in their apartment building, and they have to keep away from each other, obviously. So there's this one little girl, I forget her name. I did not like her very much. She drove me insane. So I don't have the book with me right now. It's in my bookcase in my hallway, but I forget her name. What was her name? A. That was her name. She had a older sister who eventually got COVID and really sick, and so one day they're just been out of school, and they have all of these family problems too. So A's mom was a nurse, and she ended up being really, really depressed at the start of the pandemic, and she did not leave her bed. Another girl, her father was a seamstress, and he was making all of these prom dresses, and of course, prom got canceled, and so all of the moms who bought all these dresses from him to make these dresses, they wanted their money back, and he couldn't give them to them. But then he eventually starts making masks, and his daughter and her friends start passing them out to all of the tenants in this apartment complex. And then one boy, he's got severe anxiety. Like when the pandemic started, when the school announced it was closing, he hid in a closet and his friends had to come get him out. And he has things called worry stones, and it was just crazy. He also has twin sisters that he takes care of because his mom works all the time. So he has that responsibility, and he is always worrying about his mom and his twin sisters. And then the second boy, his parents fight constantly. Before the pandemic, they didn't fight in the home. But then, since they couldn't leave their home, they start getting even more aggressive towards each other, fighting and screaming and throwing things not at each other, but in the proximity. And so, yes, it was very tough to read. It talks about George Floyd. It talks about the Black Lives Matter movement. It talks about Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. I'm getting worked up just saying their names. It makes me mad that shit is still happening. Ugh, my God. Yeah, I ended up giving it a 4. It was very hard to read out loud, especially when A was just not following COVID rules and protocol. She kept going into tenants' residences and going near people and just leaving her house when she was supposed to be in isolation, when she went into a sick lady's apartment, and when her sister was in COVID and they were supposed to be in lockdown, she went out of her house and saw her friends, and it just made me so freaking mad to no end. But yes, I read the arc. It was supposed to come out in November, but I think it got pushed back because when Goodreads says it came out this year, so I'm counting it as a new release that I've read this year. And this arc had so many grammatical errors. There were sentences that repeated themselves, and I have never read an arc with this many grammatical errors. And I want to get a copy from my library to see if it was fixed. It was very jarring. Me reading sentences that I had just read. Now, especially at the end, I was like, didn't I just read this? And my kids were like, yeah, you reread the sentence. And I was like, no, it's repeated. And it was just very jarring. It took me out of the story. And yeah. But my kids, it got them talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, and they know about George Floyd, but they didn't know about Ahmaud or Breonna Taylor because I shielded them from the news on that, especially after George Floyd. They cried. They haven't seen the video of George Floyd, but they know what happened, and yeah. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I love the cover, and the ending, it was really cute. So yeah, read this to your kids. Read this with your kids. Let your kids read it. It needs to be read. Then the last book I read in the month of February was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And this is the second book I've read by her, and I read this for a reading prompt challenge. It was read a book that was connected to last year, so I read my first Silvia Moreno book last year, and that was Certain Dark Places. I read that in October, and it was about vampires in Mexico City. So when I started reading Mexican Gothic, and it started talking about the family that Catalina, I think her name was Catalina? I think Catalina married into. I thought it was going to be another vampire book, and the whole time while I'm reading it, I was just waiting, and it wasn't vampire. So, but it starts off with a girl named Noemi. She's getting called from this ball that she goes to, and she's with a boy, and her father, who owns this big chemical company, he gets a letter from Catalina, or Carolina, or Catalina? No, fucking hell. Let me look it up. I think it's Catalina. Her cousin is saying that she's seeing stuff in the walls and that she's hearing voices. And then her husband and his family are chalking it up to tuberculosis. And so Noemi's father sends her to go see what the cousin is complaining about. And is she really in danger and need to be put into an asylum? And so when she gets to I was about to say haunted house. When she gets to this house, it is old, decrepit, rotten. It needs to be condemned. And the woman who meets her, she's like a stick in the mud. She's uptight. She's a bitch. She gives all these rules to Noemi. There's no electricity in this house, no heating, no hot water, and she needs to use gas lamps, oil lamps, and when you go to dinner, you can't talk. There's no talking allowed. And they are on and on and on about how they used to be silver. Like they owned the silver mine, and how the revolution ruined their silver mine. And they're from England, so, and like, their race is the best, and it was gross. Colonizing at its best. I didn't enjoy reading the colonizing part, where the patriarch of the family just kept talking about the genealogy and how Noemi was dark and beautiful and how she would make a good breed and good stock, and it was just ugh. Like, I know it's 1950s and they talked about that shit, but that shit's not talked about no more. But anyways, the whole time I was thinking vampires, and now it makes me not want to look at any type of mushroom. And I love eating mushrooms. Mushrooms is one of my favorite things to eat in everything. Not the doobie mushrooms, but, but, yeah. The house reminded me of the book, The House by Christina Lauren. It's one of my favorite YA horror books, because the house is a living being, and it was really disgusting. All the body horror. I read it late at night, which is when I do the majority of my reading, like I've said in previous videos. But yeah, my husband, I was sitting in the chair reading and working. Obviously, I work late at night. I need to get on a better schedule. But he just, like, did this with his hand against the back of the chair. I jumped about this much out of my chair. He scared me. It was talking about seeing... If you're disgusted, click off now. I will see you in my next video. But it talked about the sinewy veins and the pulsing of a heart and just... But, so, I ended up giving Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno Garcia a 3 out of 5 stars last year. But this one, Mexican Gothic, I ended up giving 4 out of 5 stars. This one, way better. So, I can't wait to read more of her work. I'm going to be reading all of her novels, her publications, her short stories. I cannot freaking wait. So, that is it for the last 2 books I read in February. So far this month, I've read 3, and I am on a roll. And yeah, so I'm hoping to finish this by Monday, or it's Thursday, so I keep thinking today's Friday. It's not Friday. I'm hoping to finish this by either Sunday or Monday. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to be vlogging my experience while reading this. I'm going to be updating after something major, kind of like my my Summer of Love and Misfortune vlog, which I'll leave down below. I rant and rave in that book, in that vlog. So yes, if you like this vlog, then give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Tweet some sunflowers. Comment some sunflowers, and for solidarity for Ukraine. If you can donate to any Ukraine support groups, or if you can, any penny helps. Anything you can send to Ukraine, diapers, wipes, anything for babies, children, blankets, food. Donate to food banks over there in Poland, and yeah, so do that, and they need help. But yeah, I'll see you in tomorrow's vlog.